Some days it's hard not to feel like everything is killing us. And I don't mean that in a dramatic way, although it does sound quite dramatic. But when you start going down the crunchy rabbit hole of learning what's in our food, what's on our food, and all the different ingredients and chemicals that make up the things that we buy, sometimes it is really hard to go to the grocery store and feel like we're doing a good job. And I struggle with this a lot. Now, I look at produce and I wonder, should I be buying this organic? Is it worth it? Is my son going to decide that day that he no longer likes apples? And then the fact that I bought an organic apple, which was 2 times the price, is that going to be worth it? Are these eggs good? Am I doing the right thing by buying the more expensive egg because it's an ethical way for the chicken to live? Is it better nutritionally? A lot of times we ask ourselves these questions, and it can feel like this crazy rabbit hole of learning about what's in food and feeling like we're not making the right choices. And I just wanted to kind of talk about that because I think sometimes as crunchy people, our mission and goal to avoid toxins can actually create a toxic life. And I'm not talking about the toxins that we put into our body, but the toxins that are inside our mind. And that's just the way that we think about things. And, we create this fear mindset. And certainly there are a lot of things that we should and need to be scared about, especially that are in our food. But I think we need to find that balance of where that is sufficient for us and for our family, and to just find that line. And something that I've been working on with my own family is making swaps where I can and trying not to do everything all at once. And so some of the things that we've been working on recently is really swapping out a lot of our body products, so our shampoos and our soaps, and focusing on finding things that don't have as many chemicals in it. But it's sometimes not always the easiest. And, if you get on those Facebook pages, I find a lot of help in a lot of those Facebook groups, but sometimes I just find anxiety because you think that you're making a good choice with a brand, and people tell you that they're greenwashed, that, this chemical and that chemical are not good in that brand of whatever you bought. And I think that if we are slowly making better choices, even if they're imperfect ones, I think that that is a good step towards making better choices for us and for our family. And maybe we don't think too much into, worrying about everything, because there's no way that we can avoid all of the toxins. And I don't always like arguments like this where, for example, some of you might not know, I used to own an ethically made home decor and gift shop. And one of the arguments I always heard was like, oh, everything's from China. You can't avoid things from China. And, I did find that to be very true in some aspects. It was very difficult for me to source things that were not from China and unethically made, but I did find them. And, they just ended up costing more because they were made with ethical labor and sustainable materials and all of that. But I always hated that argument. But, to some effect, and I also just want to remind you that everything you see on social media and on YouTube and all of these homesteading and homemaking channels, you are not seeing everything in their day-to-day lives. I promise you, and myself included, sometimes we're making boxed mac and cheese and we're hitting the drive-through. We are not living, perfect lives when it comes to our food or anything else. And just because you see someone showing up daily and they're only showing you parts of their lives, it doesn't mean that it's always true. So I really implore you to stop comparing yourselves to others on the internet. Take channels like these or other ones that you are inspired by as inspiration and not by a rule book or a guidebook. of the way you have to live your life, because only you can figure out what is going to be good for your family and what is sustainable for you. Because if you try to go pedal to the metal and change everything about your life to be extremely crunchy or whatever, whatever way that you want to look at that, you need to do something that is going to last for your family. You don't want to start to make all these changes and you can't keep them up and you just throw in the towel altogether. So, I really hope that this is some sort of encouragement for you. And if anyone has advice of what they've learned along the way of being crunchy or on the crunchy spectrum, I really implore you to drop something in the comments and encourage somebody else on this journey and share what has worked for you, because I think we all can learn from each other. And as always, if you found this helpful, please don't hesitate to share with a friend, like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time. Bye, guys.